claim that up to 2 million of their members supported the one-day strike in protest at changes to their pension rights, the Prime Minister told MPs that it had been far from universally supported. In fierce clashes with the Labour leader Ed Miliband, David Cameron dismissed the action as irresponsible and damaging. Our political editor Gary Gibbon reports now on a day that's polarised opinion both in Westminster and on the streets of Britain.
On the march, tens of thousands of public sector workers. But was today a triumph or futile?
The biggest demonstration of determination and defiance this country has witnessed for almost a century.
It looks like something of a damn squib.
It didn't bring the country to a standstill, but around 60% of state schools in England were shut. In Scotland, nearly all schools closed. Labour members of the Scottish Parliament came out to support civil servants on strike there. In Cardiff, bus services were cancelled, most schools closed, libraries and rubbish collection were affected. In Birmingham, thousands of public sector workers marched, ambulance services were cut back to emergency only. The government claimed that less than a third of civil servants actually went on strike, but some of them were quite senior and they included one of David Cameron's number 10 press officers, the one who normally answers questions about strikes.
I've just had a message that his own staff in Downing Street have come out and have joined the strike today.
In the Commons, David Cameron was accused of stoking the conflict.
Mr. Speaker, in June at Prime Minister's Questions, the Prime Minister praised the head teacher of Vena First School in Redditch for refusing to strike. Today, she's closed her school. She says, "This has been the most difficult decision of my professional life. The difference in the summer was that I had faith in the government. I have not seen any progress, so I've decided to strike." Why does the Prime Minister think so many decent, hard-working public sector workers, many of whom have never been on strike before, feel the government simply isn't listening?
He said in June, it is wrong to strike when negotiations are going on. And yet today, he now backs the strikes. Why? Because he's irresponsible, left-wing and weak.
Mr. Speaker, the difference is that unlike him, I'm not going to demonise the dinner lady, the cleaner, the nurse. People who earn in a week what the Chancellor pays for his annual skiing holiday.
The leader of the Labour Party has taken sides today. He's on the side of the trade union leader that wants strikes and not negotiations. He's on the side of people who want to disrupt our schools, disrupt our borders.
But travellers found the borders faster moving than normal, thanks in part to a mass call-up of volunteers to stand in for striking immigration officers.
Perfect quiet. In fact, better when they're not on strike. In fact, I've never got through customs and immigration so quickly.
The government's outplayed you on this one, haven't they? There's Heathrow running normally, and we were being told by trade union leaders only a few days ago it would be at a standstill, might even be shut.
Well, it's one example. It's a 24-hour strike at the end of the day that people have known about for months. The purpose of today is not to bring Britain to a halt. It's to show the strength of feeling of millions of public sector workers.
Unions have already discussed future strikes next year, which may take a different form, more targeted action aimed at disrupting key services.
You heard the Chancellor yesterday. Do you really think he's going to dig into his pocket and get out more money?
I hope so, but
Hand on heart, what do you think?
I seriously doubt it. But we can keep fighting, and we will keep fighting.
Even beyond January, if they close the deal and say that's it, that's what you're getting.
Yeah, I think people will dig their heels in and fight.
The government have got the money.
You sure about that? Were you
Yeah.
listening to the autumn statement yesterday?
They got money for war in Afghanistan. They've got money for nuclear weapons. They can make choices about what they do. If they don't like they don't like public services anyway.
Whitehall sources say the government hopes it can peel away some unions from others when negotiations restart. Tonight the government disputed the union's claim that 2 million went on strike today, saying the real figure was much lower.
So was the strike a damp squib, as the PM said, or did it bring parts of Britain to a standstill? The majority, 62% of schools, were shut in England, with another 14% partly closed. In Scotland, only 33 out of 2,700 were open. In Wales, around 80% were shut. In Northern Ireland, 2/3. Transport services fared a bit better with minimal delays at airports, but in Northern Ireland, buses and trains weren't running. The subway was halted in Glasgow, the Tyne and Wear metro was closed, as was the Mersey Tunnel, and ferry services in the Orkneys and Shetland were cancelled.